the law of the land.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
there's no gray areas for law of the land.
yeah. So I from what I understand, I think she, I said 79, but I think she graduated from Princeton, 76. And I think she entered law school in 76 in Yale.
Mm-hmm.
And did she get a free ride to Yale too? I mean, she probably was scholarships for Princeton and Yale.
I don't know, but if she graduated top of her class in Princeton,
I think she graduated second in her class, which is amazing because Princeton is from what I understand, is the second hardest school to get into.
It's a very hard school.
You know, just on the back of MIT, which is
so
hard.
She must have been eligible for some sort of help.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she seems to have to share some of the same values that Obama has. I mean, I think she did some volunteer work at some psychiatric hospitals while she was in high school. She went. I think she said she went to Catholic school. She went to the Cardinal Spellman High School in Bronx.
Oh wow! I think you're right. Yep.
Yeah, and she was on the forensics team, and she was elected to the student government, and she graduated valedictorian in 72 of her high school.
Good
and this is a girl, Ma, who learned to speak English after her father died at age 9. She couldn't speak a word of English.
That's right.
So she kind of showed that she can adapt, you know.
But you know from your own experience going to a Catholic school which was largely Hispanic.
It was mostly Puerto Ricans.
But you know from your experience that you can bring a non-English speaking child into the first grade.
Yeah, yeah.
And in 5 months, they will be English speaking.
Yeah,
because they learned so quickly at that time, and you immerse them, and that's how it happened at your school. The kids were immersed.
Yes, yes.
And that's how they learned.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I know, I don't know if our listeners know, but you're a big Red Sox fan.
Yes.
Big Red Sox fan.
Yep.
And I believe, I believe that, Judge Sotomayor was involved in a judgment, Ma, against Major League Baseball. And in the mid-90s? I mean, if some...
He was involved in saving baseball by stopping stopping the strike.
Yeah, it was implementing a new collective bargaining.
That's right. Yes, correct. Yeah. And it really saved baseball because baseball was pretty low, at a low ebb at that point. And it took a long time for them to come back to get people to go to games again because people were upset.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, her ruling basically ended the 94 strike. I think that was a long strike. I think that was like 230 days or something.
Yes, it went all one season. Yes.
Yeah, it was the whole 94 season.
That's right.
I think they had a special. I meant they're selling the 94 All-Star baseballs. You know, there was the World Series baseballs. They never had a World Series in 94. I guess they were selling the baseballs. But they had them already made, you know, so like a collector's item.
Right. Yes,
94 All-Star baseball or something.
It was the lost season. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So you believe she's a good choice. I mean, she's replacing Souter. I mean, people talk about Souter. I have a pretty wide dichotomy of friends. I have a lot of friends that are Republican. I have friends that are Libertarian. I have friends that are Democrats.
And so do I.
Right. And I hear a lot of my Republican friends talk about Souter in a negative way. They said that he deceived George Bush's father. I bet George.
I've heard that too. Yep.
I mean, was Souter that left? I mean, I really didn't pay much attention to his reign. I mean.
I don't know.
Or did maybe he was just beaten to his own drum. I mean, I don't.
He was. I think he was. I think he was following his own conscience and the law. Yeah,
yeah. So maybe it is a good choice then, huh?
I do think so, yes.
Okay. So, on Obama, Ma, what do you think, how do you think he's been handling the economy? What do you think, what is your opinion on the way Obama's been handling the economy and this is the worst recession I've ever seen. I mean, I grew up in the early 80s. I was probably just becoming a teenager in the early 80s, and I remember the great malaise with Carter, and the interest rates were high, and I remember Reagan coming in.
But this is the worst since the Great Depression. I mean,
as far as
in length of time, but
yeah,
it's the worst that's happened since then.
Yeah.
Because we've had other recessions, but this is, I think, really gone on longer than other recessions that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the housing market caused a lot of it, and now I think with the car companies.
They're calling General Motors government motors.
Well,
I think that's a conservative talk radio I listen to.
I don't think that's fair, and I don't think it's fair because if the stock market and the banks and the insurance companies were too big to fail, why are we not helping the car companies more? And the reason is we're not helping the car companies because they're blue-collar workers.
And then the flip side of that, some people say, the demise of the United States car company was the UAW, Ma. That's
not true.
Tell me why that's not true.
Okay. First of all, people forget that if it wasn't for unions, we wouldn't have an 8-hour day, we wouldn't have a 5-day a week, we wouldn't have sick time, we wouldn't have vacations. Those were all given to us by the sweat and blood of union workers who died for a cause.
Yeah.
The fact that came out that the union workers at the United Auto Workers made $70 an hour, which is not true. They lumped in retired workers' benefits and everything to tell you that the workers made $70 an hour.
Which was kind of like yellow journalism.
They made concessions a long time ago where they have a two-tiered system where new workers coming on make around $15 to $16 an hour. And many, many unions, my husband's union was a two-tiered system. They had A and B workers.
Yeah.
They made
that was a concession that they made.
That was a concession to the contractors.
Okay.
And the United Auto Workers made concessions. Were there mistakes made in the United Auto Workers and all that? Of course there were. There's mistakes made in a lot of places. But the reason they don't bail them out is because they're blue-collar workers. And the white-collar workers in the stock market and the banks and the insurance companies, they get preferential treatment.
It kind of seems that way. I mean, it's kind of...
That's the way it is to me.
Maybe it's hyperbole, but what I think of is the guy that goes into the 7-Eleven with the handgun and holds up 7-Eleven for $50 will get 12 to 25 years, and Bernie Madoff, $50 billion he steals.
That's right.
Although he may never see the light of day, but you know what I mean.